chamber coming through. We had the conversation yesterday about the Sky versus KO conversation. We're going to see that transpire. But before all that, we're going to get into the pistol. And Opnox in a ridiculous position right now.
Is he actually going to play from this? God, I hope so. He has those trademarks set up towards stairs and then double doors in case there's a push through. And this is what Anonymo did in their last pistol against Rebels. Looking to be the exact same play, but a bit of a change up. A bit of a throwaway because they took that double doors control. Now they're going to be headed over towards tunnel to twist, and he has that sheriff. He's already used that dash and still wants another little bit of bite of the pie, but can't quite find anything.
Cammy, Headhunter at range. Looking to peel away a life of a defender already, but Admik looking to push from two sides. This is drawing the attention from Big to multiple avenues, but Aslan has come in with a quick flight. They had no idea that this would be so quick from Big, and it has cost Anonymo one of their linchpin plays, and it's gone. It's absolutely shut down. Big have the pistol and do it in style.
Yeah, it definitely felt like they were expecting Anonymo to just blast themselves through double doors like they did against Rebels. That's why you had Obnox on the high ground with the Headhunter TP available. But Anonymo maybe realized that they were being a bit too obvious, tried to reset, ran straight into Twiston, who's happy to take that fight. And I think the big thing is going to be mid control. Rebels really didn't fight Anonymo in that mid often enough, and it allowed Anonymo to explode in from tunnel through double doors. So I think that's Twiston's job this series. It's going to be to maintain that control, and with the help of God B, anything's possible. Ooh, look at this elbow crunch. Trailblazer actually comes in on B main, and then Twiston pushes it. God B just watching. Just a shock darts over in that corner towards the shoot. And forces Admik into an aggressive angle. Even that toxic screen can't save him.
Okay. Sus actually able to get a pick out through the mid doors as well, and suddenly sneak alongside Maniac have found picks and drawn these numbers back to 2v2. This is not the position you want to be in if you're Big.
Oh, that is down to 17 HP in a thrifty round. That was very awkward from Big. The initial pressure was nice, and it seemed that they were set up in a good position, right? Like, they take that B main control. You have Twiston pushing for elbow. God B's taking those fights from all the way in Nest. But yet still, Anonymo find quite a lot of damage with the sheriffs with that thrifty buy. Now, a full buy is going to come in from them, and Twiston has the operator. We don't even get a chance to talk about these comps, Dinko, because these teams are just sending it on the largest map in the game.
No, this has been a scrappy start to the game, and in fact, and we're going to see that transpire. Karmic gonna be down into his elbow, but Twiston, this is the aggression. He unscoped, give me a little bit of an anxiety spike, but gets the scope back out in time for the kill onto Kamik. Gets out of dodge, but it's Aslan who's got aggressive through the halls as well. Admik on the other side of it. Aslan's gonna hear that drop down. That's information picked up that they are grouping towards cave now, and Aslan could even get in behind them.
Obnox needs to be careful. He's already used a rendezvous, but the fact that he could get suppressed was scary. The knife wasn't available, and he's still on site, not really being checked, and trying to find a player that's checking on him, but yeah, now it's just going to be a 4 versus 2 on this plant. It goes down on 8.
Yeah, no problem, but Aslan again, that flank he continued through the halls has finally come to reap its reward. It's just one left, it's Sneak. He's down to 2 HP in that engagement that he did win against God B, but doing much more is unlikely, and Aslan able to close up. He's 2 away from picking up that Viper's Pit, and now the defuse is only going to be 1 away, so not bad at all from Aslan in this round, and Big. That looked rather comfortable.
Yeah, this is pacey from Big. I really like it. Like, it's the punchiness of it. That you've got the chamber trying to play aggressively in that A cave position. You've got Aslan pushing all the way through halls. And then Twiston doing his thing towards mid with the support of Casper's utility on B. The thing is, though, I think Anonymo are going to sort of spot this setup. It's been the exact same setup each time, really, from Big. Anonymo with this, they don't really have an eco or a buy, sorry, to work with. But it wouldn't surprise me if an early timeout comes in from Anonymo, because it's fairly straightforward what Big are doing here.
I'm interested to see if Big will continue with Twiston being dynamic. This is something Ender and I enjoyed watching yesterday for some of the Jet Ops. They were playing very dynamic, but the conversation we had was, is it possible really to be that free-moving on Breeze? The map's so large, it's hard to be all over the place, and Twiston certainly going to be having a good time at the start of this round. Does not have that dash available. Has to just maneuver the old-fashioned way. While still doing that, eventually does get put under pressure. A Sneak able to double up. The Sheriffs come in with 2 headshots, and God B now swinging into the open. Denies the spike from going down for the time being, but it's still a 1 versus 2, and out of nowhere, Anonymo, they just win the pistol.
It was just a completely different change of tempo. Anonymo playing that super slowly to even go down as the first F because of that up angle, but just the strengthening numbers from Anonymo, just being able to push in, take the engagement. The operators lost. Twiston has to buy up another one, but Zus with the attacking up found a lot of openings against Rebels. It was actually Admic that I think had the most first kills in that map in particular. And he might be laid in a line here. He's 2 orbs away from having a Viper's Pit. And holding on to that toxic screen, something that he did a lot yesterday. No initial tell of where Anonymo want to head.
Yeah, this isn't really the best start for Big nonetheless, but they still have a chance to recover yet again. Here comes that null command in from Anonymo, sending it forward. Obnox gets removed early. I haven't been a big fan of Obnox positioning so far in this game, but this round gets punished for it. Now we see Anonymo set up for the post plan.
Not when there's a null command on the board too, where you're just going to be suppressed, close quarters, can't teleport out.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. You want to be a little bit more covered off, and at least Twisted has pulled back. At least the pick here with the operator. Guiding light into the fight is going to remove Sauce. Maniac hits the deck to the Bladestorm as well from Twisted, and now it's just Sneak and Kamik. Doubled up deep in Kevin. Twisted in his own Cloudburst unveils himself for 4.
Oh, that's so smart from Twiston. Just the movement breakdown. If you were watching it on a mini-map, he gets that initial pick in holes, resets towards stairs. But what I really like is Casper. He's on the site. He flashes in aggressively, and he almost pushes the Anonymo players off that little blind spot where the operator can't spot him. Here, right? It pushes Maniac into a position where Twiston can see him from stairs, and then he's just off. Like, chucks away kind of stuff, as Harry would put it, right? Like, just immediately goes into that opening. But that only happens because Casper's utility forces Anonymo back. Even just a pixel, it's enough for Twiston to work with.
Let's fly.
And this is going to be frustrating for Anonymo, right? They had a great opportunity there. They won the thrifty round. They come back swinging and they lose it out. They're down to the weaker buy here. Aggression yet again here for Twisted. I don't really know if this is the kind of round you want to be continuously aggressive on. And Gottby's in a real rough spot. Has got the guiding light from his teammate to allow him to fall back. But it's this fight for Aslan that's giving me a bit of anxiety. He's still able to come through with a pick, and Maniac goes down. So I could take a deep breath. Big definitely playing very aggressive, but at least they've recovered what could have been a little too chaotic.
This is, yeah, comprehensive from Big. Like, they are playing up against a hero rifle, as they've been able to sort of pick that up with the buy. He has a little bit of money. Now, Kamik Headhunter. Really, if you're Big, you are in a great advantage, but they've thrown a couple of these away beforehand. But if Snick keeps whiffing like this, not going to happen this time around.
Wow.
And yeah, convincing, right? Like, this Big team is looking much better across all of the maps. You could put it down to the fact that Casper, he's 2 and 3, but he has been so good in his first 6 rounds. Even just the fact that Godby pushes up elbow, backs out, and then immediately the flash comes in to help Godby get into a safe position. Yeah. And really, Godby is not in a safe position. He's playing an elbow as a Sova. He should have died there.
But it is pretty mental, isn't it?
Why is Godby doing that? Like, this is confidence. And I think it's the fact that Big have had so much time to adjust to this new patch, fix some of their issues that they had consistently in VCT. They look on board to return, honestly, from this series.
Yeah, they're looking very, very good. I mean, the start of this game was a little, I would say, scrappy and unconvincing. And luckily, this round's got off to a flyer for Casper. He's taking 3 lives. Luckily, will be pulled out by Sneak before he can go on for any further. And it is a 2 versus 3. Obnox position spotted by the recon bolt, but it's quick from Anonymo to reposition up through elbow. And they might just catch Twiston looking the wrong way. As soon as I say that, the crosshair comes back, and it's 1 for Twiston. Cloudburst down and plays through it. Ends up losing his life as he misses the shot. And Sneak put in a position that is winnable. Does he expect Aslan? But it doesn't even matter. He's decided to go through the double doors. He's going for that quick relocation back to get the plant. And he will have time to set up in a post plant to deal with this 1 versus 2.
Look at where he's planting too. More towards stairs. So maybe he's going to try and fight for that position, taking the back of the site. But both these players on the defense coming through doors in behind. Could be a nice little wraparound. I don't think they're going to expect Snick here. But this plant might actually give it away, right?
Yeah, he has also... Oh, yeah, they get a swing. Immediately decide upon that. Sneak gets caught in transition. And that's going to be the defuse coming through for B. But, Ryan, I mean, Big are winning rounds. But let's be real. They are not playing the percentages right now. I mean, you're seeing some wild stuff come out. The aggression is mental. And Twist in particular, I mean, that second repeat through the Cloudburst. I mean, what is going on there? But still able to pull it out nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, it's the pace of it, I suppose. I don't know if some of the aspect is to try and nip stuff in the bud before that KO can really start to work. Because like Maniac's using these early knives, it's putting some pressure somewhere. But sort of in between the times that, like, it feels like Maniac is just not really involved. With so many teams moving away from the sky over to the KO on this map, other than when that null command came in, the KO ultimate in that round where they went A, it feels like a kind of like impact of like the flashes, the knives, not really being there for Maniac. And I don't think it's inherently down to him playing poorly. I think it's because Big are just kind of going, yeah, we're not even going to let you in on the site. They're like, I'm going to line up this knife. I'm ready to go. And then God B comes around the corner and just slaps you. What are you going to do? Like, how do you respond to that? I don't know what I'd do if God B actually slapped me, to be fair.
Probably.
I think I'd apologize.
Oh, yeah, apologize. You know, that's all you have to do. Or say thank you, Ryan.
Yeah. Thank you is probably a good thing to say. Twiston's 10-3. And he has a lot of money to work with, keep getting that operator. The fact that he had that operator in the 4th round, lost it, and then just bought another one, and that's the one he's been rolling with so far, kind of says it all. Not much of a buy from Anonymo. Timeout for them. They have ultimates. The Bladestorm and the Tour de Force going to be used. I mean, Anonymo don't need that much to make a round work when it comes to their buy. 2 big ultimates like this. Oh! And an opening like that, it does so much for them.
That's huge. Just acupuncture through the head. And now, well, peek out from Aslan from the double door. Hunter's Fury applying some pressure on towards Admeek. Ooh, just dodging each and every blast. And Obnox luckily pulling it back because Maniac just found the follow-up, the attacking side of things. Seekers have been sent out here for Big, just trying to confront the last 2 remaining players. And they will find their victims. 7 rounds to 1. Yeah, that had a lot of investment into it for Anonymo in terms of ults. And also, you know, off to a good start. They had the opening pick on Twiston. And then it ended pretty quickly.
Yeah, in the blink of an eye. I turned around to just fill up my drink and it was done. But it's... Yeah, like Anonymo, I feel like you have to sort of look at the map pool for them, that they were consistently picking Bind through the play-ins. And then yesterday against Rebels, picked Breeze because their Breeze is pretty good from how they played in their regional league. I think it's called Surge. I'm trying to remember the names of all of them. But Anonymo changing over to Breeze because Rebels were pretty poor at it as well. But this time, Big don't look poor on this map at all. They're leading the line 7-1. It's a dominant scoreline. It could be a dominant 2-0.
Yeah, absolutely. Painting that picture early. Go B. Sending the Aldrone out through holes. What I've loved about Big is after that timeout, you notice a significant change up in their defensive setup, right? You don't have Go B again over towards B, really playing aggressive. You don't have...
There's a reason. The Viper's over on B with that utility on A because that null command is on the line again. That's why everybody's playing off of this A site. And you're looking at where Maniac is. It's looking to be an A execute, but it could also be a bait. Toxic screen, you bring in this null command, everybody else is rotating towards B. This is a complete bait, but it's the fact that Casper could shove this down. He's wrapped all the way around.
And it has pulled that rotation. Look how hard they bit down on it. Casper will find Maniac, and he's got to realize now, guys, there's not a whole lot going on here. Spike, though, going down, but that Viper's Pit is going to make things confusing because you don't know how many players are in there. You have no idea. But now they realize, damn, I don't hear the Spike here on this A side. We better run back over to B, and that will keep one player over there. That Viper of Admeek is going to be under a bit of pressure. Barrel through. Casper just hunts her down, and Admeek is going to be removed. Aggressive stance in the post plant, not working out for Kamik. And now Sneak and Zus, well, really what can you do here? There's not a great position available to them. Big have everybody still up. I love the call. It just doesn't really pan out the way they had envisioned.
Is this going to be a flawless? Maybe Zus can get 1 kill at this point. The fact that the defuse comes in, that is an insane round for Big to win. And it really is off the back of Casper being able to peek and push for that information because Big completely was sold on that fake over towards A. Everybody rotated. It was an easy plant for Anonymo, and it's 2 big ultimates expended for something that didn't end up working at all from Anonymo. So this is just continuing to get from bad to worse. A buy, a force up here so they can eco in round 11 if they lose again, and buy for round 12. But look at their ult progression. We're not going to see 4 of them for the rest of this half. Snake's Hunter's Fury going to be saved for maybe this one or maybe in round 12.
Wow, while Sus stops Twistin's aggression from working out here for Big. It's twice now Sus has bested him in that mid-fight. And we'll have to see Twistin adapt a little bit further, but the fact is, Big are so good at recovering this. Casper and Obnox in particular have just been so good at pulling these kills back. And Aldron goes through, confirms position of Sneak, and Obnox swings into it. Obnox will go down after 1. Gonna be with a quick trade back, but Kamik has slipped his way through Nest. He's flanking in behind.
Because that chamber utility was cleared in halls as well, he can get quite a lot of space here. The rotation is going to be over towards A, but I think it's mostly if Kamik can spot the cross. If he can spot the Viper, that's the Viper's pit down. And is that going to pull Casper over towards the A site? It does. And these 2 players making it work from Anonymo, but it's awkward considering the spacing on everybody. There's no help on either side.
Yes, they're all separated into 1v1 fights at the moment. Every single player here is susceptible to one of those, and got B catches the play through double doors. Kamik looking the wrong way, and that thrusts Maniac into the clutch alone. Spike is on his back, knows he has a chance to the 1 versus 1, but he doesn't know where God B is. He could come from March, he could come around from the backside, and God B has selected the ladder as the approach. He's coming around the backside, but Maniac is pushed forward, found Casper, and sends the fragment in to hold God B back. This gives a couple of seconds, but he decides to go on the other side of the pillar, and that will expose himself to God B.
Was he just not sure if he'd crossed yet, or just wanted to re-peek? It's an awkward one because Anonymo make that winnable for sure. It's the idea that they can find that first kill, they punish Twistin, it pulls all of Big into these positions where they're trying to cover the gaps of the map, in holes, in those kind of areas, and Kamik can just exploit all of that space.
Yeah,
but that's the first kill that he got. He's 1 in 10 right now on that chamber.
Yeah, that's a little rough. Kamik can often be the player, the standout here for Anonymo, but I think in that 1v1, I think he just thought God B was going to wrap around from the archers instead of re-peeking from the same position. But
shorty,
nonetheless, Twisted off to a good start, killing the operator, sticks around close to the cloudburst. The shorty in close range will be able to dish out some damage. Ends up using the operator like it's a shotgun for 3. Eventually gets overrun. The rest of his teammates should be cleaning this one up. Just Meek left, and God B, well, he's styling on them. Lovely headshots. Couldn't quite close it out versus Abmeek, and that shot at least is stylish enough, but Aslan was always there on the flank. I think Anonymo are just struggling to deal with the sheer pace of this Big side at the moment, which isn't something you say a lot of the time, right?
No, I think it's the fact that Big are outpacing Anonymo that's the really surprising part of it, right? That Big were known as being this very thoughtful, but maybe a bit rigid and slow in their approach to playing a map, are outpacing these Polish nut jobs that are so good and aggressive and willing to sort of fight and take those engagements. It really is like Big coming in with a good understanding, with a short space of time to find out who their opponent is. They're looking very comfortable, and this could be a very dominant 11-1 half.
I love that, the term you just coined for them, but nonetheless, Maniac up through the double doors. Obnox's position is actually perfect for this round. He dodges every blast of the Hunter's Fury. Unfortunately, Kamik's come out for the holes, and he's found another. 2 picked up. Obnox and God B get knocked on down. Twisted has missed his opportunity, and so a 2v2 will ensue.
I'm wondering why that space was found so easily over on halls. A little bit odd, but that's where a lot of the win conditions come in from Anonymo. The spike has been planted in a 2 versus 2. Casper is going to be pushing out of doors, and it's somewhat being watched by Snick.
The recon bolt up, but Kamik has found Twist, and that puts it all on Casper to try and retake this one into 1v2. He spots the head. Oh, Snick, quick shot on the flick out. At least 2 rounds picked up for Anonymo at the half, but let's not sugarcoat it. It was not good enough from Anonymo. A lot of close rounds, I think, in the first few that could have changed that half a bit, but nonetheless, just really struggled to deal with some of the change-ups Big were throwing at them, some of the aggression in the early round. Pretty fun half to cast, I would say, there from Big.
Yeah, I mean, it also sort of felt like despite the fact that Big lost that round and they've won all of the majority of the others, they're still going to be frustrated with how that round ended up. So that's something that they're going to want to try and clean up as much as possible. And now Big on this attacking side have been pretty decent in the past. You got to respect the fact that they're running a different comp with different players playing on different agents. We didn't see all that much of Twistin playing on Jet up against Mech. It was a very short map and short series overall. Let's see what you can do on the attack. Obnox going to try and push up and scale over towards Halls. And it's Snick that's watching it. Doesn't have the Eldrun, but 2 shock darts and a Ghost Disc pistol.
Goes without saying, this one is essential for Anonymo to pick up.
Here.
We'll see how Big dish it out to them. Obnox could be playing with that Headhunter. Sets up his rendezvous. We'll see how Anonymo are going to deal with what looks like potential A setup towards the end of this round for Big. They've got some Halls presence with that rendezvous set up. You can make some noise, you can quickly rendezvous out of there, and you can just now lurk for the mid play. And that sets up Big.
Here.
Leaving it late in the day, aren't they?
This is more of a big round.
Yeah. They obviously have to respect this toxic screen, an aggressive one for Admic over on this side.
Toxin screen down.
And it's how they're going to find the people on the site, right? Recon Dart is available. There's no Trailblazer, no Aldrun, but the Aldrun is actually going to come through on the attacking side. Sorry, Caspe does find an opening, and Admic is going to get pulsed here, I think.
Yeah, great openings here for Big. Admic is in a real tough spot towards the back of these pyramids. He will be overrun. Got B, the player to commit to that kill. Now Sneak and Kamik, the last 2 remaining pulls to pull this one through. Send a shock dart in, and unfortunately will not deny the plan, but it has actually gleamed a kill, so thrust us back into the 2v2. Equilibrium once again established as Aslan searches for them. Oh, Sneak to the headshot, and Obnox now suddenly the last remaining player, and he's just down on 10 HP. That defuse being stuck. Sneak is so tucked behind the pyramid, you can't do anything about it from Cave, and that defuse is pulled through, and the pistol stolen away in the most unlikely of fashions for Anonymo.
I'd say, yeah, when you look at the rounds, but we've seen this kind of situation crop up a couple of times, haven't we? Where like Big have a huge player advantage and then Anonymo out of nowhere just throw together a couple of kills and it's scrappy. I don't really think that the scoreline, despite being heavily for Big 10-3, is really indicative of how these rounds have gone because they have been super close. Big, again, it's a frustrating round to lose in the end, just a bit of miscoms and how they want to play and approach that map. Just a share for Aslan and Caspe. Everybody else is just holding on to these classics. Want to get that utility online as soon as possible. Overall, though, it was a good execute over onto this site. This wall is tricky to work with, especially on a pistol where you don't have like consistent utility of like a Trailblazer to rely on or an Aldrun. Maniac wanted to try and punish this as much as possible.
Oh, well, Sus is the first player to claim a life in this round. Anonymo holding on to it and following up. In fact, with Maniac's close position, dealing with a cave excursion. Swing into the last remaining player of Godby, who stood no chance of doing much there on the way out the door. So 4 rounds picked up for Anonymo. Now, we know they struggle on the attacking side sometimes, and the defensive side sort of looks a lot more comfortable for Anonymo. If they win this round, potentially a comeback. At least making the scoreline look a little bit more respectable.
I think we need to see a scoreline of 7 or 8 for Anonymo before we come to that conclusion.
Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, setting up an
we need a Kundi
platform
timeout
for themselves.
When a Kundi timeout comes out, that's when we need to be worried.
Kundi timeout. You know, Zesh has been bringing up him a lot today. I think he just enjoys saying the coach's name, to be honest.
I mean, yeah, it's an enjoyable name to say. Sus needs to be very careful. He went out wide and twist, and this is why he got the kill in the last round too, over towards Sus. So he is a demon of this elbow control, and there's so much control for Big overall in this mid position. Now they seem to have free reign of the map with how they play it.
Yeah, I mean, this is just really solid starts for Big. And tearing up this bonus, the Spectre's not great at the long-range fights. When you go into those straight-up head-up duels against the better weapons, you are going to come out worse for wear. At the moment, though, Big taking the A site. They're deep inside of it as well, so they're just going to be feeling pretty good about this. And for Anonymo, yeah, at this point, it's just seeing if you can fight your way into the 2v4. You did bring up the fact that they can sometimes let these rounds slip, rounds that should look convincing, but
it's still
good.
it's still taken a while for Big to actually get through. And now Snake in a 1 versus 3. Spike's not even been planted at this point. They know exactly where the Silver's going to be coming from. But that's because Obnox is holding this angle. They're happy to sit quietly. But Big, it's the fact that they had so much control there. They're in a huge player advantage. And then they still go and execute A super carefully and super slowly. Like, that's the Big that we expect to see. It's almost comical. Almost comical with how they like clear sight sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, they're a team that like to, well, traditionally play the percentage game. When that defensive half, it was the complete opposite. I think it was the antithesis of their playstyle. And now here in the second half, a little more methodical. But Anonymo, that was a bonus. And now they're back to the operator purchase into the rifles. And here comes that Blade Storm up for Twisted.
Wonder how much he's going to be attack hopping as well. Another reason why he just wants to bring the Blade Storm out and not buy. Now, Kamik's more focused on B main, that there's a chance that he's able to sliver in, but Snake on a nice little off angle expected that initial mid aggression, but the rest of Big are actually resetting towards A.
Yeah, losing Twisted early is never a great feeling here for Big. But now they have to try and recover going into the site. They'll send those Seekers out to initially start this attack forward. Taking some ground with a swing forward from Admeek. Swings out and spots 2. They weren't ready for Admeek, and he is relentless. Finds another, and 3 kills in total. He wants a bit more. He's not done yet. He wants to close this round out here and now. Aslan's still inside the cave. Is going to finally extend around the corner. Admeek goes down, but all this does is signal the position of Aslan and alert the forces that wish him ill fate to turn around and spot him out. Lovely shot from Sneak on the turn back.
It's just that Aslan peeks his little bum out of his toxic screen on the other side that he gets caught there. I mean, he was being watched a little bit towards the end, but Admic, again, anchoring onto this site is a tricky site to hold, and that's where the Seekers is also used as well on the attacking side. And it's awkward. Marshall's out in the hands of God B of all things, and no ultimates to really rely on too much. Aslan one away from having that Viper's Pit. But it doesn't look like orb control is something the Big are going to fight for here. They want mid and they want holes.
Well, Twisted, I think he struggled a few times in terms of getting these mid fights going as well. You've seen it last round with Blade Storm. But when he does find the opening, it puts Big into a very comfortable position. He's searching for that in the holes early. No one giving him an opportunity. Anonymo very passive in this setup. You can see absolutely no proactive play right now from them. And that is giving a lot of control here for Big. They're going back into the A play, though.
But the Eldra does actually spot the Viper on the site, and Hunter's Fury is in a position where it could catch those players that were all grouped up towards shop. It is going to force a reset out of Big, but Obnox is going to try and hold his ground. And Twistin, holding to see if anybody from Anonymo is going to peek to get any holes information. But because there's a trademark there, it's not something that Anonymo are interested as of right now.
Yeah, well, they've actually repositioned here in towards the mid doors, and finally Sneak goes for a bit of info. They were starved of information here on Anonymo, and Sneak has caught God B. They're now trying to come through the double doors, but they're just getting picked apart like fish in a barrel. They're being shot at by Anonymo. It's just one player left. It's Obnox, and he's claimed as well. Sneak will force the life out of them. A flawless for Anonymo.
Little bit whiffy from Big. Like, they found themselves a lot of duels, did chunks of damage, but no kills actually coming in from these faraway aim duels. And it was kind of like that early push that comes through. Like here, Snick given a moment. This duel as well from Caspe, even like this final one from Aslan, it's not critical. And considering how clinical we saw Biggs at a defending side being, I'm a little bit worried that this attack could start to fall apart a little bit. There's that Kundi timeout. Maybe Big are starting to sweat a little bit more.
Yeah, that is what we've been waiting for.
Snick's 22-12. When did that happen?
Yeah, he's been finding so much impact in these last few rounds. And this defensive half, I think he's been having like crazy amount of 3Ks, just really delivering some important rounds for Anonymo that's kept them alive here. And we talk about this team usually. We would say that Sus, Kamik, players to keep an eye on, but those two players have been playing pretty quietly. So you now need someone else to step up. And luckily, Anonymo have that player in the form of Sneak at the moment. We'll see if it is enough. We obviously need another step up from this team. It can't just be Sneak charging the way on the Sova of all agents. So we'll see what Big come up with. Good spot here from Mel. I do enjoy this. This creepy little teddy bear.
He's front row seat.
He's spying on this matchup.
Yeah, he's, you know, just chilling, watching the action, keeping himself quiet. Don't know what team he supports, though.
I'm sure he's completely unbiased. Sort of force popped here. See how that pans out. Not a good start at all here for Big. They've lost 2 players. Casp able to trade out and actually gains quite a bit of ground. He'll send the guiding light, and that's going to open up a chance for the Sheriff to crack a skull. Now Sneak coming back into play, but the Viper's Pit has been sent up for Big. They're trying to push towards 12 rounds and might just be able to do so.
Good upgrade.
Available, but Sneak is going to use it right on towards default. Sprays on through. Massive kill. That is Casper. Now down.
Omnox has picked up the Phantom on the ground and unboxed with that tour de force. It's still a difficult thing to play in the center of this Viper's Pit, but there's an inkling of where Sneak's coming from.
Holding, tries to go for the flick. Obnox unable to get it done, so has to rendezvous back to safety, and this does leave an opening for the Viper to go down, and Sneak will find that essential kill yet again. Obnox trying, but is missing his shots, and now 1 bullet left in the tour de force. He's held back behind the slow, but Sus has actually come off. He could have stuck the defuse, but swings into the fight instead, and it will still have the same result. Kill to the defuse, and held through for 7 rounds on Anonymo's board.
Oh, that felt very awkward timing. Even on the side of Sus, he wasn't able to get half on the defuse, just took that duel a bit preemptively and catches out Big. It's not a bad attempt at a thrifty, but you're dedicating that Viper's Pit. Seekers, Hunter's Fury still for something for Big to work with. Likely this is where that timeout is going to come dividends in from Kundi. Like Anonymo, the money is good for a few, and even if Big managed to win and get onto 12, should be enough-ish for Anonymo. I think this is a big round for them to pick up too. Admic has his own Viper's Pit. Isn't looking to be using it straight off the bat. He's not going to throw himself into cave or anything. Very passive on mid from Anonymo. An Aldrun from very far out, but gets all the information he could really want. Might even get a tag onto Twistin at this point, but Obnox has managed to push all the way in through doors. Maniac's holding it.
Oh, he's going to send the underhand flash. He blinds himself, but still able to collect the kill on towards Obnox. Big down a player already. Seekers being sent out, and Casper gets a caught guiding light in his hand, and Admeek is going to take down the rest of the squad. Big just dispatched upon their entry through cave and really starting to struggle. That flank from Kamik will close it. Oh, this is looking a bit rough now for Big. A flawless from Anonymo yet again picked up in this defensive round. And Big just keep running it back to back on that A side. They have one up towards halls. It's always Obnox, and the rest commit through cave. It's getting read so easily from Anonymo.
It's also this play, like he knows that Casper's flashing out of these smokes to take a peek. So Admic able to preemptively get it at the perfect time while Casper has that flash in hand, a quick peek, and Big just don't have that time to adjust to what's happened. And Admic is able to just get a couple more. He has that Viper's Pit, just hasn't had a reason to use it. If he's able to hold on to the site this comfortably, why use the ultimate? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And this is still kind of a buy coming in from Big. It's a bit awkward. Guppy just having the Ghost, but the Hunter's Fury, he's looking to aim for that Viper if they're on this site. That should be the main focal point.
My Fragment gonna go and try and slow down the initial attack, but it's not slowing at all here. Casper takes down Maniac. Admic falls as well, and Big have a 2-player advantage. Guiding Light this time will connect and will allow the kill for Casper. He keeps moving forward. And a big criticism we have of attacking sides is when they don't take enough control when they initially take the site. Oh, not this time. Casper decides it's done. A flawless round for Big. An absolutely beautiful round from the Sky.
Lots of people are going to start playing Sky again after this. Like, another dominant looking. Like, he's 18 and 13. And this is what you want. Like, just this punchiness. It's not really... It's selfish when it matters. But knowing that Casper can have these moments where he can find the individual plays and also be super supportive, that is insane transfer. And what an adjustment from Big. And I think it comes down to the fact that Admic dies over on that site and Maniac actually gets caught in mid.
Oh, Kamik peering down through the holes early. Knows that Obnox has a tendency to be around here in the early round.
There's a Viper's Pit on B. Aldrin actually used very early yet again from Stig, so all of the information that Anonymo gather from this point, they kind of have to do with their faces. And Kamek re-peeking with the tour de force. That's a great place for that slow to come in, but he expects another here with Obnox.
And now signals for Big to go through cave, but they're about to walk into another operator. In the meantime, Maniac has removed Aslan's life, and Kamik connecting shots. Now Casper trying to light up a little bit of that fire he had in the previous round, but unable to really get it going. Now Obnox left into the clutch. Now they look at the top of their screen and see it is Obnox alive. They should start to read where he could be, and Admik will wrap around the back, figure out where he is, take him down. And 9 rounds now for Anonymo. That looked like the big rounds they've been losing. I mean, that really is a little worrying because, you know, the round that they pick up after a while in the second half is a pretty unsustainable style of round, right? It's Casper just popping off, taking himself a massive round. Can't do that every single time. So Big just right back to losing pretty convincingly.
I mean, it's a different round because every single one other than that one, Anonymo have had that Viper over on A. The Viper's Pit was used on B, so Big, I think, went in with the same idea of like, let's shut down this Viper, and then, oh, they're not here.
Yeah, the Viper's not here.
But it's a good adjustment, and this is, yeah, very punchy overall. Casper's leading the line, and Sus is sort of caught in between two mines, still has the operator, but Casper's pushed all the way in through the smoke. The flash is perfect yet again, and he still wants more.
Maniac yet again delivering massive impact up in the holes, but Casper's having an absolutely huge round again. 3 kills, and now GotB has to close it. Getting spotted by that recon bolt, they know exactly where he is. He'd love to get back to a strong post plant with that Hunter's Fury, but that is not an option at the moment. He's being wrapped on the left side, but he spots them on the shoulder peek out. Now needs to consider they could come from the right side too, so GotB just trying to figure out where are they. Well, now he doesn't have to try and figure it out because that recon bot will pull at least one player into position, and GotB cannot take both down. Sneak will remove him, and it will be Anonymo who push forward to double figures.
Now I think it's Big trying to really up the tempo and sort of tripping themselves up as they go along. It's, again, these awkward holes, Sus playing in on the site, just making things difficult. The operator's still in his hands. And now we're getting into comeback territory. Like, Big have not really looked all that convincing, just 2 rounds on this attack. Both of which being, yeah, sporadic, right? One was up against a bonus and the other was just a brilliant round from Casper. Really now I want to see how these teams play it out in the end. Anonymo not calling a timeout in this half at all. They're pretty comfortable. You don't want to call a timeout to break this momentum. Big have already called out, so kind of up to them. Maybe a chance for overtime.
Wow, Big commit to the plant. It's locked in at least. Hunter's Fury being used up. And here comes the other side of things. Spike taking on the B site for the first time in a while here. And Big try to close this on some of the weaker guns. Anonymo have the player advantage. Snakebite goes towards the back of the site, trying to twist it into an awful position, but Obnox has come in with a triple on the Headhunter. Sneak and Maniac, well, just Sneak now, trying to do his best to keep his team up. He's taken Obnox down, finally the player with all the fire and fury in the ground, but Obnox is still... His damage is being felt, and Sneak into the 1v2, heads into the open, spotted out and taken down. Big close in